What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Angle of Pursuit podcast, your fantasy football, DFS, and sports betting home here over at fakepigskin.com. It's Thursday. It's Bobby Adcock time. What's up, Bobby?
What's up, Kyle? How you doing, man?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. I'm feeling pretty good. The past couple weeks have been really good for me for my picks. Obviously, we'll go through our NFL slate. If you're reading my college football column, went 5-1 last week after going 4-2 the week before. So, 9-3 over the past 2 weeks. Feeling pretty dang good about that. Feel like I'm starting to see the board well. But Bobby, I was looking like we're already in week 6 of the NFL season. We're in week 7 of college football. Like these seasons are going to be over before we know it, and I'm not going to know what to do with myself for another 6 months.
It's flying, and by the way, great. That Texas call was phenomenal.
Yeah.
That
on the field, and I sweat. I had a real sweat because Texas was up 21, and my
21.
buddy it was my buddy texted me. He's like, "Great call on Texas," and literally within 5 minutes, OU had tied it up, and I'm like, "Come on, dude, what are you doing?"
Even if so, I mean, in those situations, and like we all saw the comeback, and it was a great college football game. It was awesome,
Mm-hmm.
but I think like obviously the way you kind of like saw that matchup playing out, I mean, you made the right call. Texas, like 9 times out of 10, they're just going to close that game out.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray made an unbelievable, 67-yard run. So
and that run was insane. It was crazy too because the announcer's like, "Okay, got to get out of bounds," and he just keeps running and he just keeps running. And he's going past everybody. Kyler Murray's incredible. If he was like 5'11" instead of like 5'8" or 5'7" or whatever he is, maybe he thinks about the NFL. But obviously, at his size, he has to think about baseball. And for someone to take him in a top 10 pick in the MLB draft, despite him playing another season of college football, obviously he has a ton of skill over there, and you could see kind of some of that translated with his quick little passes, kind of sidearms and different ways of getting the ball out. But that was really nice. It's really nice when you have a strong feeling about a game and then you kind of write about it or talk about it or whatever, and then you actually see it come to fruition. Like it's like, okay, I feel like I saw it, I projected forward, and what I thought was going to happen is actually happening. So that always makes you feel good and helps you kind of gain a little confidence as you go through your next picks.
Yeah, it's like I'm not insane, and also like you said, it's flying by. I'm in the Midwest, and the temperature dropped substantially this week. So yes,
Yeah.
I can already tell it's dark outside. It very early, and yes, it's here. Winter's coming, and we keep moving forward. So let's keep it rolling.
Absolutely, and it's crazy too because I'm on the West Coast, and obviously, like it's hot. It's still in the upper 70s today. Like we're still sunny outside. I'm actually, Bobby, I'm coming sort of to your neck of the woods. I will be in Chicago on Sunday, and then I will be driving up to Lambeau Field for the Monday night game between the Packers and Niners. Very excited, but I was checking weather and I was a little caught off guard by the temperatures of like highs in the 50s and lows in the 30s. Out here on the West Coast, we don't typically hit that until December or January. So it's it'll be a little jarring for me, but somehow I think I'll survive.
Yeah, no, it's here, so you'll get a rude awakening, but I'm sure all the Lambo and everything you'll get through.
I can't wait. It's a huge bucket list item, so I'm very happy to check that off. Speaking of check that off, let's go through our last week's picks. Like I said, it's been good for me. I went 2-1. That takes me to 7-6-2 on the season. Obviously on fakepigskin.com, I do 3 picks. Typically, I lean a little bit different. I'll throw an extra one either here or on the article. Hit that one as well. So it was actually a 4-2 or 3. Wait, what? Let's do math here. Come on, Kyle. 3-1 week for me. Obviously, the under on the Monday night game did not go well, but the Lions won. And they got a big 24-0 at half, so that was easy. The Bengals game was insane, and I know we were talking on Twitter and via DM and whatnot, but it was for about 3 and a half quarters. You look like you had it nailed. It was perfect. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then all of a sudden, big old Sam Hubbard, former Buckeye, strip sack, fumble, touchdown, and seals the not only the win but the cover for the Bengals. Something I was definitely sweating out and really enjoyed the end of that game. So that was really nice. Why don't you break it down for me from your view?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'll give you my view. I'm sure you did love that. Sam Hubbard, Bubbard, whoever. Listen. I think I was vindicated to a point because my whole point in talking about it last week was the Bengals.
Yeah.
The Bengals have no business laying 6.5 points to
No.
anybody, maybe outside of Arizona, San Francisco, the Bills,
Yeah.
whatever. And that was the point. And like you said, I was chalking that up as a win. That was done. I was like 17-0.
No, yeah. You started to take your victory lap on Twitter, and then all of a sudden the game flipped. You can't. No premature celebrations. No premature celebrations.
No, I will always premature. But look, whatever. Look, I honestly coming away with that. The Bengals are the Bengals, and they had to have. And you talk about Sam Hubbard made a great play. Hey, we all know what happened. Ryan Tannehill went Tannehill, and that's two. I mean, they had not one, two defensive touchdowns in the second half to get that done. So it's just like, okay, you've got to be in completely ridiculous ones too. It was just something where I was like, oh, okay, is this? And once that happened, obviously you know how my week turned out. It just went from bad to worse, and I ended up going 1-4. Which brings me to an embarrassing record so far this year. So I need to get something going here. So we'll see what goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move forward and talk about this week's picks. Obviously, like always, we each have 3 picks, so we'll jump into it and see. I'll go first, and Bobby, we've talked about this a couple of times, and I'm going against my traditional rule of don't bet on or against your teams. Just don't do it. It never works out well. You're always a little too close to home. You can never quite figure it out. But this line, I can't pass it up. I'm taking my Tennessee Titans +3 at home against the Baltimore Ravens. I think obviously last week was very frustrating for Titans fans. That said, they did have a touchdown that was dropped in the end zone that probably seals the victory for them. Instead, he drops it, and then the Bills go down, kick the game-winning field goal, and then it's all over. So that was definitely annoying, but they return home where they are playing a much better team. They are a team that kind of plays up to really good or better competition, and when they're playing bad teams, plays down to it. They tend to struggle a little more on the road, play a lot better in front of their home crowd. I feel like this at worst should be a pick 'em. Obviously the Ravens lost themselves on the road to Cleveland, so it's not like they're not firing on all cylinders after that big win against Pittsburgh on Monday night. It just feels like too many points, so I'm going to take the home team getting 3 points and hope to squeak out a cover.
Yeah, and I know you love your home dogs in general.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the board this week too, right? It's like there's outside of 3 games, every game is like almost you're betting, you're choosing teams to win if you're choosing them, right? There's only 3 lines that are outside of like 2 or 3 points. Mm-hmm. So it's in general the board is a bit tough this week, and that's that game is kind of a stay away for me. I just that's 2 just teams that are kind of I don't know what to make of 15 teams in this league right now.
Yeah, honestly, outside of Kansas City, the Rams, and maybe New England, like who do you feel great about? Like I know what they're going to be on a week-to-week basis.
Oh, I don't think you can say nobody. I don't think you can honestly say anybody. Really.
Yeah, because even like Buffalo, they're obviously terrible. They beat the Titans at home, and they went to Minnesota and won a game that was like they basically won by more points than they were underdogs by. It was insane. So even with bad teams, we don't really know what to expect on a week-to-week basis.
And I'd like to say like someone like Minnesota I trust, but that defense, we've talked about this. That defense just like hasn't been good, and I don't know what to do. And there's there's a story with Everson Griffin is maybe their best player on defense. He's out indefinitely. He has some personal issues. So like, it's just I don't know what. It was a nice win last week, but it didn't have a ton to do with the defense. So I don't know. And so yeah, you look at these teams week to week and go, maybe there's 3 or 4 teams that we can trust. There's like 20 teams in the middle, and maybe there's like 5 just really bad teams. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, the board makes sense this week as far as the lines go, but again, it just gets tougher and tougher to look at from like, hey, who do I like? Who do I like? So hey, but if anytime you're getting points at home, fine. I'm fine with the Titans.
Hit me with your first play.
So, mine's going to be the Steelers. I believe right now it's +2 at Cincinnati.
It's actually gone up to +3, so I'll give you that full field goal.
Okay.
Yeah. It's moved in the direction of the Bengals. Okay. So talk to me about your thoughts about this game, because this is one that I keep going back and forth on.
Well, you're not going to go back and forth on it, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, because this isn't this is one of those fake rivalries that we talk about. There's another fake rivalry in Ohio. It's called Michigan and Ohio State. That's not a rivalry because one team always wins. Yeah. And this is the same way. Kyle, the last 11 times these teams have played, what do you think Pittsburgh's record is? Can you just guess off the top of your head? What do you think?
11-0?
9-2.
9-2.
And it's 5 straight in Cincinnati for Pittsburgh, including a playoff win. So this is not about this rivalry. This is about how much property tax that the Steelers are going to have to pay for all the real estate they own in the Bengals' head after Sunday. This is not about anything else. So again, these two teams face each other. The Steelers and the Ravens. That's a real rivalry.
Yeah.
The Steelers look at the Bengals. They just go, okay, do you guys want to win now? Let's just win. So. Yeah. Look, I'm not going to flinch here. I'm not going to care. I don't even like the Steelers. I don't think they're a very good team, to be honest. But when I see this matchup and I see this record and this trend, I'm going, hey, man, this one person just owns the other. I'm going Steelers here. So I like the Steelers. I'll go +3 on the road here.
Yeah, obviously, so 62% of the bets are coming in on Pittsburgh, but 74% of the money. But the line is moving towards Cincinnati, which – it always gives me a weird feeling when that's the case, when there's more money, but then it's kind of moving. So maybe they're getting some sharp bets. Obviously, I like taking home teams when I can, especially when it's around a field goal. But I think this is just going to be a stay away from me, but you're probably on the right side. It'll probably be a lot like our game last week where we're like, oh, Cincinnati, look how great they look. Look how great they look. And all of a sudden, at the end of the fourth quarter, the Steelers – are up, or it's kicking the game-winning field goal, and all of a sudden you're covering.
Well, and plus, my hatred for Cincinnati grew so much last week. So now I'm just all in against them.
So you're not buying an Andy Dalton jersey this week?
No, and I have my OSU gear. I have it on order, so I'll be changing my. I know I lost the bet. I'll be changing my avatar, so you'll know.
Yep. Oh, I can't wait. And I will be. We'll talk about what I owe you in the DFS pod, because you were on the right side of that one for sure. Okay, so I'm gonna hit you with my second play. I feel like I've gone against these guys a lot this year, but I feel like it's going well. I am going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road, coming off the bye against the Atlanta Falcons, getting 3 points. I feel like the Falcons. We've kind of gone over this, but their defense is just riddled with injuries. They lost Andy Levitre. Now there's another foot injury for Devonta Freeman. He may miss this week. Right. Yes, right. Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley. I expect them to put up points, but I also expect a reinvigorated Bucks offense, Jameis full, obviously played against the Bears in that blowout, got a bye week to kind of get everything settled. Now they're ready to go. Got Cameron Brate, got Mike Evans. I think he's traditionally played really well in that Atlanta stadium. Obviously, it moved a little bit, but it's still indoors, still Atlanta. I like famous Jameis. I like this game, and I like the Bucks getting 3 points.
Yeah, and this is somewhat of a stay away from me. To me, this is kind of too like you talked about the injuries to Atlanta. It may be at the point of like no return. It's just that once they start piling up on one side of the ball like that, or in one part of the team, it's just like, man, like I think it showed on the field the last couple weeks, right? I mean, they just cannot stop anybody in what would have been and what was a good defense. So, but Tampa's defense has issues and probably will continue to have issues. They weren't that good on the field to begin with. I think this is kind of a stay away for me, but I mean, look, I don't mind the play at all. I when we talk about DFS later, like it's Bucks week, right? Like there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. I will take any amount of like line or points or 3.5 points. I'll take that.
Yep. And the over/under is 57. I think they'll probably blow by that, and it could end in a close game where Matt Ryan finds Calvin Ridley streaking down the sideline, ends in a touchdown, and all of a sudden you don't cover, even though it looks like you should have for almost 4 quarters. But I'm willing to take that risk, and I feel like this is a good spot to do it. Go ahead and hit me with your next play.
So I'm going to go back to the well, as I've kind of talked about. We talked about this just a little bit ago. Who do you trust in this league? And the Rams. Rams are at Denver, -7. I've kind of talked about last week. If I see this team minus less than double digits against a team that I perceive as just kind of an average NFL team, hey, I'm gonna pound them. I mean, they've up until last week, that was the only game they didn't cover, and they could have easily done that with maybe like a breakaway run in the second half on that last drive. So the Seahawks played up. They played well. They played well more than probably everyone expected them to play. Russell Wilson proved why he's a great player, but still, I look at the Rams again and I go, hey man, -7. I'm going to continue just to see them and go, unless they're playing those 4 or 5 teams on their schedule that we talked about last week, I'm going with them.
Yeah, no, I was in on Denver when the season started. I thought Case Keenum would play better. I thought their defense would be okay after losing Aqib Talib. Obviously getting Bradley Chubb helped. I thought this, and they show that at points. But yeah, I'm a little concerned. Now, see, the thing is, this line, I think you're actually probably getting a few less points than you would say. Obviously Brandon Cooks might not play. Cooper Kupp probably, is on the fence whether he plays. Marcus Peters is obviously playing, but he's not playing near the same level before the injury. So it feels like people are kind of going, okay, this isn't the same Rams team. Let's, instead of making this maybe 9, let's bring it down to like 7. So I think you're probably on the right side for sure. Obviously, not having Brandon Cooks isn't great, but Jared Goff's made all these guys work. He was obviously able to be productive last week, and they still have Todd freaking Gurley in the backfield. It's probably the right side. But this is one of those games. Like this board this week, it's just not. It's not screaming to me like it has been in the past weeks. But if you're getting value with the Rams, I think it's a good bet to take.
Yeah, I'm just doing what I'm gonna do, and then I'm looking at this team going, who do we trust, and who are the good teams? And look, the Broncos are just however you want to slice it, they're just an average team, right? They're okay. They could play up a few weeks and have some nice games, but hey, the Rams, they showed something last week too, especially on that last drive and that QB sneak. Like these guys, they're just a cut above the rest of the league right now. And I think at any time they play a middle of the road average team, they're apt to drop a bomb. They can do it to anybody. So and even when those guys went out in the fourth quarter, there was no hesitation to go right to Josh Reynolds and keep that train moving. So Rams -7, second pick. Hit me with yours.
I love it. So my third pick is we're gonna go with another total. Burned me last week, but it worked the first time I did this. I am going to take the over in the Oakland Raiders Seattle Seahawks game. This game's in London. Obviously, sometimes when they have London games, those are the games that are 3 hours earlier, 9 o'clock kick in the East Coast, 6 a.m. in the West. But this game is a night game in London, so it's going to be, a normal 1 o'clock Eastern game. Obviously, it's two West Coast teams, so it's a little bit different. But it's a game that I think has two offenses that are capable of putting up points. I think it has two defenses that have question marks, especially on the back end. It seems like Seattle's found sort of a running game with this Chris Carson and Mike Davis combo. Obviously, put up some points on the Rams a week ago. But I think my favorite thing about this game, Bobby, is the last 16 games, 11 times it's gone over. So this is in London. So of the last 16 London games, it has gone over the total 11 times. I think there's some thought, and especially with the rain and some of the weird weather in the earlier games, where the games have been sloppy and gross, and they everybody kind of turns them off, especially when they're the real early ones. But I think there's going to be points scored. I think both teams will be pretty solid, and I expect a high impact, action packed game where the 48's the total. I think they score well into the 50s.
Yeah, I honestly, until you said this, I didn't know this game was in London. So that is, I hate they do this to us, and it's like each year it kind of seems to grow and grow, and obviously now it's like 3 or 4 games every year in London, so they kind of sneak up on you. Yeah, I'm not I'm not like beating my chest like it should be everything should be in America, but I'm just like what I get it. They're trying to grow the game, and I'm just like, okay, enough. But whatever. So yeah, no, I mean that's I like this over. Regardless, I think the Seahawks are a mess on defense. They just don't have players in general. They can't stop anybody. They like I said, I've been talking about, it's like Frank Clark, Bobby Wagner, and then a bunch of guys. And then the Raiders are the Raiders. They have not been good on defense. They can get beat by anybody. So and you have Russell Wilson on the other side who's still, for all we say about the Seahawks just not being who they were, he's still a great quarterback. He's one of the best quarterbacks. He can hurt defenses every week. Yeah. So I like that. I like it even better. And we're going to talk about some DFS stuff in our next podcast. That's a game I think to target. So you love your over-unders. I don't love the over-unders, but if that was one, I like that one. Good pick there.
Go ahead and hit me with your final play, Bobby.
Speaking of, now I'm screwed because I was like, hey, Raiders, black hole. There's going to be, they're 1-4. They just had kind of an embarrassing loss, and I took them last week too. I thought, oh man, they're going to go into San Diego. San Diego's supposed to be like the better team in this rivalry, and blah blah blah. And they got worked basically, and it wasn't good. So I thought, that they're gonna. Seattle played up really well last week, and I think they put a lot into that game. I really do. I think that was a division game for them, and I think they kind of made that a measuring bar for themselves, and played really well. And it put a lot of emotion, a lot of energy into that. I think, with the travel, now that it's in London, for God's sakes, I think it's gonna be tough for them to kind of recreate that and reproduce that. And I think this is a good spot for Oakland to maybe catch them on a tougher week. So I have the Raiders plus 2.5 against Seattle.
Yeah. Well, I obviously said I like both teams to score a ton of points, so I don't think that's crazy. Um, I think these are both two not very good football teams, and if you're getting points with one
Very
of
true.
them, if you're getting points with one of them, I think I like taking the points. In the last, so basically we've had 21 games in London, and the quote unquote home team is 10-11 against the spread. So basically, it's just, there's no trends in terms of that. I think this game's close. I think they kick a few field goals, and I think this is a game that the Raiders win, probably by 2 or 3 points. So I like that you're getting a couple of points, and yeah, take those Raiders.
Yeah, and Kyle, look, listen. I, I'll tell you a little secret. All right, I was struggling to figure out my third game.
I know. No,
I
that's
hate
what I'm saying. Like this
I
week,
hate all these.
the board is not like, it's just a bunch of, like you said, there's so many games that are between like 1 and 3, 3.5 points this week, that it's hard to, you really have to find teams you think you trust and that can actually win. And these are weeks, Bobby, where if you don't see a lot you love, just sit back and enjoy the games. There's no need
Yeah,
to. You don't have to spray the board. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to, dive in on as many games. And that's why I think I leaned over under on one of the games, just because the history says this is what's usually happens. We have two teams that are good, and we have two defenses that are bad. So, everything kind of lines up to that making sense. But yeah, there's not a like. Houston getting 10 points at home, I like that over Buffalo. But it's not one of my official plays. But about the Bills going on the road after winning, that line should probably be like 15 or 17.
whoa, 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 whoa. Well, you can't. The Texans can't be given 10. Like, so that's that's one where I look at it and go, wait a second. And I get it. I get it. The Bills are not a
Yeah,
good team,
no,
but the
they're
Texans
atrocious.
are not a good team. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Texans are okay, and I think when they're at home, they're a different team than when they're on the road. Now, Bill O'Brien's an idiot, and maybe he does some stupid stuff that makes this game a lot closer than it should. But I think that's one that definitely perked my eye up. And then I kind of like, here I go with totals again, but I kind of like the under on Jacksonville Dallas. I think that's going to be a really ugly, low scoring.
yeah,
Bortles throwing picks, Dak running into the line, like just Jason Garrett clapping, and that's kind of it. So, but yeah,
yeah,
like I said, if you don't love anything this week, sit back, enjoy the games, or hey, come over to Fake Pigskin, check out my college picks. There's a lot to like this week. There's some big games, including Georgia LSU, including what was the other one? Blanking.
well, I don't know, but when you said Jacksonville Dallas, I threw up in my mouth. So,
Yeah, yeah. So if
and,
that
and
if that game's like 13-9, like, would you be shocked? No.
no, and also when you said, if it's a bad week, just sit back and enjoy it. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take the Raiders like an idiot and just see what happens. So
There you go.
that's what's going to happen. So we'll see how it goes.
Yep. Or head over to DraftKings and play a little DFS and have some fun there. If you are playing DFS, if you want to have some help on setting your lineups, Bobby and I will be recording that show very, very soon. So come over, join us, and see who we like over there. You might hear some familiar teams find their way back into the conversation. But Bobby, good luck this week. I hope you turn that 0-3 week into a 3-0. I hope I keep my hot streak going. I'm kind of working my way up. I'm back over 500 now. I gotta rise that up and get back into my 55, 60%. I like to be at with my picks. But good luck, Bobby. Make sure you're following Bobby online on Twitter, Real Bobby Adcock. Follow me, Torius KRO. Good luck with your picks, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Good luck, guys.